A boy brought home his report card to show his parents how well he did in math class. True story. My friend made a 7 on a chemistry test, and when the teacher was in the hall before class he changed it to a 97 in her grade book. This was in 1983-ish for those I have confused. Did you add the 0 to your German grade? 9. If he was really bad at math he would say that with pride. I will always remember a girl in my high school pre-calc class got a 26 on the final exam. She was happy that she got that many correct. Saw that one coming a mile away. So the original score was 90-10? That score's so good it breaks the laws of mathematics. Hey, at least he knew enough math to add the 9 to the correct side of the 0 and make it 90 instead of 09. Checkmate Obama. A married couple became famous for not having an argument in 25 years. Last Valentine's Day my wife updated me with a call from told me, "You know 3 of the girls here in the office have just received large bouquets of flowers from their men. They're just absolutely beautiful." I said, "Yeah, that's probably why they got the flowers." Variation of a very old joke. Emancipation is winning. Always heard it with the roles reversed. That joke was a hell of a lot shorter and better when I first heard it 60 years ago. He not taking any chances with that second time. The joke stops being funny when you switch the genders. I wonder why having the wife threaten the husband is funny. That is so fucked up and yet hilarious. Very funny. Her murdering your husband is so funny. Dave goes to work and greets his boss. If we're gonna number jokes, this has to be number 1. This joke makes up at least 30 of this sub. My 75-year-old father told me the same joke 40 years ago. He now has dementia and can't remember who I am. He can still, however, remember this joke. Haven't heard this joke all year. Punchline I originally heard for this classic was, "Who's the bloke in the funny hat up there with Dave?" My father used to say he was the second smartest man in the world, and a Chinaman named Ling Wu, the smartest man, knew everything he did and Dad did know a lot, and could answer most of our questions when we were kids. But whenever he didn't know the answer he would tell us, "Oh, you'll have to ask Ling Wu. S not here man." Dave's just trying to distract people from finding out that he fucked the bus driver. Hi, I'm Jeffrey D. Simon and I just wrote a book about a once celebrated, but long forgotten detective who in the early 20th century beat the mafia, exposed espionage, and took on terrorists. I'm surprised more people don't know about this story. What inspired you to write about William J. Flynn? You call him a detective. Was he a police detective or a private detective or an attorney general or some other official? As someone who doesn't ever use my middle initial, I'm always struck by when other people do. Is there another Jeffrey Simon in your field that you are often confused with? Did William J. Flynn ever dip his feet into the CIA or do work for them, or did he only handle domestic issues? Congratulations on your book and all the hard work and research you've done. What do you think is the most fascinating feature of William J. Flynn? What would you have asked Mr. Flynn if you had a chance? What was your favorite anecdote about him? How does one get better at sex as a man, especially with limited partners? There's a Vice documentary on Colombian tribal men who have sex with donkeys so that when they eventually meet a woman they fancy they'll be good at sex. I highly recommend you don't do this. It'll give you the first non-superficial advice. Get into cardio. The Sex with Emily podcast has really helped me step up my game. But like many others have said, communication about sex both in and outside the bedroom. Take time. Lots of foreplay and connecting. Be very soft and gentle early on in the night. Also look up the Kivin method. It just changed the game for me. Limited partners doesn't matter, people like different things anyway. What matters is listening and paying attention to the reactions of the person you're with. Core strength and cardio endurance. It's hard to be good at something physical if you're out of basic shape. Lick it before you stick it. I was encouraging my toddler to eat, bringing the spoon to his mouth and saying, "Here comes the airplane. Going into the hangar." How is a toddler like a cell phone? If you can't find it in 3 days it's probably dead. I did this to my kid and he slapped the spoon out of my hand and told me to go fuck myself. He was 23 though and it was in front of his girlfriend. This sounds like my toddler who would then ask to watch a YouTube video of that happening. Our anti-jokes. This isn't. After all these years waiting. This is officially the worst joke I've ever heard. Your 30-year-old toddler said that? Tell that to James Bond as he flew a BD-5 right through the hangar. If you commit 90 sins, you will get caught about half the time. This joke is going to cause math hysteria. You'll be caught half the time for no sin. 90 caught 45 0. This is supposed to be dad jokes. You're going off on a tangent. This is true. Good on you op for looking at it at a right angle. From the evidence you have gathered, you're parabola right about that. Hilarious. I fall in love with math a little more every time I see such ingenious puns. That's great. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Good job, you okay? Watch 6655, smiley face, keep him coming. New angle on similar joke. Glad you didn't get off on a tangent. Makes sense. You either get caught or you don't, hence 50-50. I was going to copyright this joke, but I couldn't afford it and didn't have anybody to co-sign for me. LMFAO. No one told me there would be math. Can someone explain this one to me? Math teacher, if I have 5 bottles in one hand and 6 in the other hand, what do I have? My wife came home with 4 cases of beer, 3 boxes of wine, 2 bottles of whiskey and 2 loaves of bread. Are we expecting guests? I asked. No, she replied. Then why did you buy so much bread? Very big hands. A busted shopping bag. Halfway home. Massive hands. A party. Alternate answers. Ginormous hands. Teensy weensy bottles. A juggler's sensibilities. An incomplete 6-pack in one hand or one in the mouth. A balance issue. Huge hands. Depends on what's in the bottles. You have bottles in place of fingers. Alien hands. And probably arms 00. Really big hands. Large strong hands. You have to buy a fridge. If you have 6 apples and you give half to me, with how many are you left? With 5.5. 11. Till Boeing pressured the US government to impose a 300 tariff on imports of Bombardier C-Series planes. The situation got bad enough that Canada filed a complaint at the WTO against the US. Eventually, Bombardier subsequently sold a 50.01 in the plane to Boeing's main competitor, Airbus, for $1. They pressured for a 220 tariff, and that's why Airbus named the C-Series A220. How ironic that pressure is now causing Boeing a whole bunch of problems. Recommended watching his downfall, the case against Boeing. Lobbying. That's why Canada didn't consider the Super Hornet for our upgrade of our CF-18 fighters. Boeing is purely a grift-based company nowadays. Zero innovation, just cutting corners and doing BS to pleasure Wall Street. Till Korean astronauts eat a version of kimchi that has been radiated to kill all of the microorganisms. The kimchi, however, had to be radiated to kill all the microorganisms in the probiotic-rich dish. What would happen if it were not irradiated? Why was this deemed necessary? Imagine chilling on the ISS trying to make new friends and forge peace between nations, and someone whips out fermented cabbage. Food irradiation is so extremely common, I guarantee you that if you're American and have eaten a tropical fruit like a mango or papaya, you've eaten food that was sterilized via irradiation. It's the better of the 2 main mandatory sterilization methods for imported tropical fruits. They're either sterilized in hot water steam, which can destroy flavor, or they are irradiated. So, they're just eating sweet and spicy cabbage. Then, the reviews were glowing. Forgive me. Till when Prince changed his name to a symbol, Warner Brothers sent out floppy disks to major news outlets containing the digital rendition. And this was why newspapers referred to him as the artist formerly known as Prince, the same way they now say the social network formerly known as Twitter. They couldn't easily print the symbol, and if they did, they feared people wouldn't understand later. People thought Prince had briefly professionally changed his name to the artist formerly known as Prince, but he never did. I actually thought this was a stupid gimmick at the time. But then I learned it had more to do with his record label owning the rights to his name or the IP, something along those lines. Once I learned the symbol was a way to stick it to the man, my respect for him grew greatly. Till that America's first war was to prevent African pirates from taking Americans and Europeans as slaves. The Barbary Wars with Tripoli and enough. Prior to their independence, American colonists had enjoyed the protection of the British Navy. However, once the United States declared independence, the British were quick to inform the Barbary states that U.S. ships were open to attack. A strategic approach to neutralizing a potential threat from the United States by the British, all achieved without any overt actions. Something Shores of Tripoli. There's a great book called Skeletons on the Sahara based on a true story of an American merchant ship that was shipwrecked off the coast of Africa, and the crew taken as slaves and marched across the Sahara. The original book Sufferings in Africa, written by the captain of the ship, was one of 3 books that Abraham Lincoln said had shaped his political ideology. Hell, some of these fuckers even raided Cornwall. Till that a man hijacked a United flight out of Denver, requesting $500,000 and 4 parachutes, and jumping out over Utah, mimicking the infamous D.B. Cooper case, and getting caught only because he bragged about being able to do it to an acquaintance just prior. Got away with $500,000. Arrested 2 days later with $499,970. I really need to know what he spent $30 on. McCoy was on National Guard duty flying one of the helicopters involved in the search for the shit. That's funny. Why not just take your own parachute, that you packed yourself, in your carry-on? Him just drunk at the airport bar like, no, I bet I could fucking do it, watch this shit. How would you get the money? Not like they can get you cash in the plane, lol. This man had a fascinating life. He had to open his big mouth. Till that in 2014, in Honggu, Pakistan, 14-year-old Itazaz Hassan Bangish saved his high school from a suicide bomber by confronting the man alone. While other students fled into the school for safety and to raise the alarm, Itazaz held the man at bay until his bomb detonated, ending his life. Look for the helpers. The mental fucking fortitude it would take, at high school age, to look down certain death and decide that you're going to bear hug it to protect your loved ones. Truly the best of us. The only repost that I upvote every time. Supreme sacrifice. Well done. True gigashot. Aw fuck, every time I remember the kid it makes me cry. He could've just ran away, but he held the suicide bomber and died but saved the whole school. What a hero, but holy fuck, that's so sad. Dude single-handedly saved more than 1,000 lives. And that is a conservative estimate. Giggest of Chads. Hero. Till that the Australian ibis aka bin chickens have learned how to eat the invasive and poisonous cane toad. They do this by picking the toad up, shaking it around to get it to expel its poison and empty as poison sacs, then washing the poison off with water. Glorious creatures. The unofficial mascot of my city. Worth mentioning, not the only bird species to learn how to eat them without getting sick. Magpies flip them over so their belly up where there is no poison glands and eat their guts. We have a demi-permanent guest we call Lenny. He hangs out with the real chickens. In 10 minutes, he can turn 20 liters of water into disgusting sinus slime, filtering his beak and feather cleaning. But he keeps the goshawk away. Dinosaur descendants making dinosaur race proud. Bin chickens? Ibises did co-evolve with bufonids, so they were already a natural toad predator. Why didn't this wonker win bird of the century? Till the body of Sinjue, a Chinese noblewoman from the 2nd century BC, was found remarkably well preserved in a certain liquid in her airtight tomb. Her skin, muscles, organs, blood vessels, hair, and even fingerprints were preserved, making it one of the best preserved ancient human remains. BTW, this is not how the corpse looked. It looked pretty fucking horrible. The above picture is a reconstruction of what she looked like in life. The article states that her body was in an unknown liquid. It would be a shame if they didn't save any of the fluid for later analysis, if they couldn't tell what it was at the time. The body picture is in the wiki and it's some nightmare fuel. Clicked on the enlarged close-up of the actual corpse's face on the wiki page, on my big monitor. And there's gonna be nightmares. What was the certain liquid that kept her skin so soft? We really lucked out that glass is extremely resistant to most chemicals. Search bacteriophages. I like to call them the most convenient. You're lucky I'm on your side and not against you in all history. And stops a significant amount of dangerous radiations from the sun while still allowing light as a bonus. We didn't really luck out. It's not like it just exists. We figured out that if we collect certain natural resources and formulate them in a specific way, the outcome will be something with certain properties. Not much luck involved. We are really lucky that our atmosphere has lots of nitrogen and just enough oxygen. What app is a red flag if you see it in a person's phone? Royal Match. Most annoying ads ever. Dating apps. While you're dating that person. I had to ask my ex to uninstall Tinder twice while we were dating. He wasn't even cheating, he was just addicted to external validation. People like that are impossible to please, and it'll suck up all your energy if you try. Kick. Life Invader. Whisper, basically an app full of nonsense and sex pests. Some versions of Minesweeper. I'd be pretty unhappy to find Grindr on my husband's phone. Reddit. A dating app when someone is dating already. I'd call it more a red flag that someone is going through the apps on my phone. Lol. Fake block developer connections to Saddam Hussein and anti-piracy capabilities among other things. Ashley Madison. Off-brand calculator app. If I Geek. Asian Avenue. What are some gruesome facts about pregnancy, childbirth, postpartum that not many people know? Nobody warned me that my insides would feel like they were falling out when I stood up the first few days after birth. First trimester miscarriages are way more common than most people think. 1 in 4 pregnancies terminate before 3 months. My wife's placenta wouldn't detach after the birth of our daughter, so the nurse just went up in there and got it out. I was oohing and eyeing over our new baby girl and I look over to see someone damn near elbow deep treating my wife like a sock puppet. It was so jarring. Mothers are so damn tough, dude, it's unreal. The placenta is the size of a plate and leaves an internal open wound that size that also needs to add the responses and shock to this make me really angry about the level of maternal education and care that is being given. The thing that frightens me the most is pelvic floor issues. Imagine suddenly no longer being able to control when you pee. What everyday item do you think will become obsolete in the next 10 years, and why? I'm going to keep my 40-year streak of being wrong alive by picking the fax machine. Damn thing just won't die. iPhone lightning cables and basically any charger that's not the EU ruling it's already beginning. Latest iPhone 15 is USB-C. Not complaining though, reduces e-waste and makes the question, can I borrow a phone charger? Less followed up with iPhone or Android? Students are now receiving class assignments online and several public no longer have snow days. I'm hoping root canals. Because they started developing a way to regrow teeth. So maybe we can just pull our teeth and then regrow them. That would be great. I guess dentures as well then. A physical newspaper. Plastic shopping bags. More countries are banning them due to environmental concerns, leading to the rise of reusable alternatives. What remnants of the early World Wide Web are left? In the mid-1990s, I used a dial-up connection and Netscape Navigator to read the reports posted to this website. They keep the information up to date, just never bothered to update the web design or format. Oh, and this company is worth $795 billion. Craigslist UI is still straight out of the 90s. The first website is still live. Also Gopher still exists for folks who remember it. Yahoo, somehow. I literally heard you've got mail on someone's phone yesterday. Other remnants, those of us old married couples who met online, and now have adult children. My parents still have an AOL email. Wayback Machine has so much old shit on it. GeoCities. This is still up and running, no one said it. But eBay. It's been around since the 90s. ANZIT UI still feels dated even after all the updates. Which celebrities have destroyed their careers virtually overnight? Jussie Smollett probably takes the crown here. Oscar Pistorius. Literally overnight. Michael Richards. Lance Armstrong. Maybe not overnight, but he owned the early 2000s sports scene with those brackets and the campaign. Got caught taking gear. Lost it all. Matt Lauer. Jared from Subway. Lizzo. Ashley Simpson when she was busted lip-syncing. Jonathan Majors. Armie Hammer. Will Smith. Ezra Miller. Kevin Spacey, after allegations of sexual harassment. And Roseanne Barr, due to racist remarks on social networks. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis did a pretty thorough job. You know, the ultra-wealthy are boring because none of them had the idea to buy a fleet of World War I-era warplanes, equip them with paintball guns and do massive dogfights. I liked the Louis C.K. joke about this: if I were a billionaire I would do crazy shit. Like, I'd buy all the pants in the world and burn them. Fuck it. We're starting over with pants now. We just had an ultra-wealthy dude control a submarine with a gaming controller. We all know how that went. Isn't this exactly what Peter Jackson did? Except he used laser tag guns. Op has no idea how dangerous World War I airplanes were, let alone how dangerous is dogfighting them. Oh, we have those on Tuesdays, usually in the private Rivieras of Montserrat Leche. We just don't tell the pores about it.